Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. I'm James Baggett, I'm the founder of Car Dealer Magazine, and today on the show I'm chatting with the owner and CEO of Big Motoring World and the man behind online car retailing website Kazoo. It's Mr. Peter Waddell. Good afternoon, Peter.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon to yourself, and thanks for inviting me on the show.
Really nice to see you. Thanks ever so much. Now, Peter, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction for those people that don't know you. Peter began trading cars in the early 80s. He bought his first premises, Tainham Trade Centre, in 1986. That held just 20 cars on the forecourt. But today, Big Motoring World stocks more than 3,000. From there, he's grown the business with new sites, more stock, and in 2004, he consolidated his Kent sites to create one under the name of Big Motoring World. By 2011, they were the largest independent used BMW dealer in the UK. Big Motoring World today has 6 sites, 4 dealerships, 1 workshop, and a huge preparation centre in Peterborough. And this year, he's announced that Kazoo will be launching an online car retailer that's arguably different to anything we've seen in the past. But we'll go into that in detail in a moment. Now, if you're watching on YouTube and you've got any questions for Peter, please submit them. They'll be fed through to me and I'll ask him, but we've got a lot to cover. Peter, thank you very much for joining me. Firstly, perhaps we could start with your background, because for some people, they'd be interested to hear where you came from and how you've built this business.
Well, all I can say to you is this. I do a lot of speeches to young children. My life is a bit of a colourful journey. When I was 4, I was placed in a children's home. I was beaten up by my parents. I was put into what they call a secured unit, where basically I was brought up. I then left there and became a tramp on the streets. And from there, I then got in a bus, ended up in London, and ended up as a minicar driver. Started as a minicar driver. Used to pay £55 a week to rent a car. And then I realised that we could actually buy a car with the profits I earned, and we ended up renting cars to other taxi drivers. And in the end, I ended up owning a taxi company. Anyway, cut a long story from there, we started buying and selling cars because we were buying them in the taxis. So we ended up then having a few cars, and we started selling cars. And that's where we started on the street, from a little house in Cartford. Then met a girl, ended up in Maidstone. And we just started buying cars. We used to call it lots of flash for no cash. We started with the BMW product. We were selling high mileage cars. Nobody wanted high mileage cars back in the 80s, the 80s and 90s. So we started that, and everyone, high mileage cars. But we used to call it lots of flash for no cash. You could have a nice BMW on your drive for no money, for the Fiesta money. And that's how the company was first born, if that makes sense.
Peter, do you look back at those days and look at what you got now and wonder how it grew into such a big business?
Well, it's hard to explain, James, but when you come from my background of, being beaten up when you're 4, I have hearing aids, smashed teeth, scars all over my body. When you come from that background of being beaten up by your mother, and you have a different act of life. Your vision of life is different. Every day I waked up, from the day I was born to the day I am now, grateful for what I have. When you have nothing and you have what you have today, you appreciate it more. But at the same time, the passion and the drive and the hunger is probably greater than an ordinary person that had a father and a mother and had a settled life. So that's all I can really say to you, even today at 54, grey hair and old and wrinkled. I still have the drive. I still get up at 4 in the morning. I work till 12 at night. I work 7 days a week. So the drive is still there. And my next venture will probably be my last venture before I retire, as I'm getting old. I've been in the business 35 years. I don't think I've done bad as an old dumb car dealer. I think we've grown the business and we've grown it with passion and love. And, everyone says to me every day, they say to me, how have you done so well? Well, I don't get that. I haven't done anything. All I have done is open a business up and grew a business. The people that have made the business is my staff. The staff, the customers, from the cleaner to the technician to the salesman. They are the people who has grew my business.
But Peter,
CEO.
did you always want to have a dealership selling that many cars? You know, back in the day when you were selling just a few, did you always think, well, what I want is a car supermarket and I'm going to build one?
Well, all I can tell you is this. When I used to stand at auction and smoke my cigars, and people used to look at me down because he was buying high mileage cars, I always wanted to be the best in the game. I always wanted to be number one. In fact, my car says number one. If anybody knows me, they'll know. It's a big one. We always want to be the best. We thrive on being the best. We thrive of being a company that wants to grow. Because of my background, we give a lot of opportunity to young people. About 38% of our company minimum is young, if not a bit more. It's not about me. It's about the staff. It's about growing the staff, taking them from here, from coming as a salesman to be going all the way up the ladder. And we've done that in many, many occasions. In fact, my core team, most of them have grew in the business. You know, our two area managers were both salesmen and are now area managers. One's 26, one's 32. The young people, and you've got to grow these young people. This trade is a habit of not growing young people. We need to grow young people. Our future is young people. If you want to know what the future holds, look at your son of 14, 15. He is your next customer, James. Look at what he does. You know, my son, I never forget the day I got in my Bentley and I got my CD out and I put it in the old hole of the engine. And I like Dolly Parton. Many people know that, and they get in a car with me at the helicopter. And I put my son, my God, Dad, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm putting my CD in. I buy them at the petrol station at $9.95 and I put them in my music. No. He says, give me your phone. Gets my phone out. Dad, what's this phone you got here? My God, stop. We need to go to Blue Water. And we've gone to Blue Water, wrecked the whole day's journey. We've got this new iPhone. He's come out. He's done all these different things to it. Now I jump in the car and the whole thing comes on Dolly Parton. That's a good one.
I wouldn't have put you down as a Dolly Parton fan, Peter. But Peter, let's talk about the financial results that you revealed yesterday. I mean, profit was up 34% to 10.8 million, revenue up 88 million to 294 million. I mean, they're huge rises in what was a difficult year. How did you manage to achieve that?
Okay, so again, as I said, you drive, passion. If you believe in yourself, people will believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect people to believe in you? It's never going to happen. People said about the Brexit. People said about, you know, oh, the job is dead. You know, I drive home every night. I live in London, and I nothing pleases me more. I drive down the lanes, in my country lanes, and at 10 o'clock at night, my house lights up, and I see the light, my house in the distance, and I think, you know, something. Isn't it great to be alive? Isn't it great to be here and watching things grow, you know, like a flower, you know? So we had two sites. We started with Westmoreland. We then built Bluebell Hill. We built Bluebell Hill, and the year of that is obviously the bigger you get, the more volume you're going to do. You know, our total volume went from 14,000 cars in 2018 to 21,000. You know, like for like, we grew the business from the same site to 19,000. You know, that's a 36% increase. You know, our turnover, the more cars you sell, the bigger the turnover, you know, 294 million. We vision this year to get it to £500 million. With Kazoo, we expect to be £1 billion within 2 years. So, you know, the gross profit, 7.3%. Pre-tax profit, 10.8 million. You know, there's not many used car dealers out there that can do them sort of numbers. You know, EBITDA 12.5 million, you know. And the most important thing about our figures is two things that people need to understand. Not only did we do a £12.5 million EBITDA, we also built Peterborough, Stratford and Enfield, and started building Kazoo, and in the middle of a Brexit.
So,
If we can do that, James, last year, watch out for this year. That's
I
what
mean, they're certainly impressive numbers, Peter. I mean, is it the money that drives you? I mean, is it something else? Do you love the cars? What is it that drives you in business?
I tell you what drives me. The staff. When I walk in and see staff that I brought from 18 years of age, I mean, I can talk about one girl called Sophie Hazel. Sophie Hazel started with me when she was 18. She had blonde hair and she worked the mechanic. Nobody would give her a job. I put her in the workshop. Sophie Hazel is now the area manager for all handouts and for all big assist. She has a department of 40 people that she runs. So when you say to me, what drives me? When I walk in and I see Sophie Hazel, or I see Bob Rupert, who was just a technician, who's now our operations director, and I see these people. And in fact, only a couple of months ago, I had an envelope arrive in my desk, and it was from Bob Rupert's son. And Bob Rupert didn't know that his son had applied for a job. The boy is 10, and he's actually sent a letter to the CEO to apply for a job. That's what drives me. That's what makes me tick.
Peter, you've clearly been very successful, and you know you're well known for turning up at the auctions in your helicopter. I mean, do you think that success is something that drives you going forward still? I mean, is it seeing the business grow even further that makes you tick?
Well, let's look at that. You know, the conversation about the helicopter. You know, you've got to understand my life. I'm dyslexic. If you go in Lincoln, I'm not the best speller, but I always say what I mean. When I first went to learn to fly helicopters, everyone said, Peter, you never do it. You never get through the exams. But 98% of my exams, because I wanted to prove to people that we can do things. If you believe in yourself, people will believe in you. We've got to do that in this business. This business, we've got to believe that there is a future in this car business. You know, we've been through Brexit, we've been through all of these different recessions, but you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to polish a profit in that car, and you've got to polish a profit in your showroom. You've got to act and push and drive and work as hard as you possibly can to achieve. And if you do that, you will achieve.
Have you found this shutdown quite painful?
No. In fact, it's been a gain. You know, if you take what happened, we shut down on the 23rd. Everybody had their hands in their hands. I went home. Do you know what I did, James? Shall I tell you what I did? I live in London. I didn't realise how big a garden I actually have. It's about 55 acres, and I've got about 400 acres of forest and everything else. And I bought this new tractor. And because some of the gardeners wasn't in, we have 6 gardeners, I got him a tractor with my son, the son that I don't spend much time with. And we sat in the tractor and I cut the grass, and I looked up at my big house and I thought, you know something, how bad is life? We're alive. You know, there's thousands of people are dying out there. And I'm in my tractor looking at my house in fresh air with my lovely son. How wonderful was it? How wonderful is that moment to actually still be alive, smelling the fresh air with the people you care for? So when you talk about how is the coronavirus been, what the coronavirus has done for a lot of people is it's made them think. It's made them think about their lives. Okay. The other fantastic thing for me, my wife probably won't realize it, she didn't go shopping. So my credit card bill was 0. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Peter, I'm surprised you're still not cutting that grass now if you've got 55 acres. I mean, that sounds like a job in itself. I know that you've really been helping people out during this time as well. I mean, tell people about what you did at your Stratford site.
So we was approached by the Lord Mayor, and the problem with it all is people just shut the doors, went home and forgot about it and thought the whole company was going to just survive. So we was approached by the Lord Mayor's office. they was building the Nightingale Centre in London. And we were an 8-acre site, 10-acre site in Stratford. So we pulled the cars all off of there. We took them to Enfield, we boarded it up, and we handed it over to the Lord Mayor. First of all, for parking and for builders to build the centre and do all of that. So we had to have parking to do that. And then it became a coronavirus testing centre. So we're hopefully going to get it back in the next 3 months. It'd be great to get it back. But it's, as I said to you before, our business is not all about money. Caring and sharing. We have a very moral standard we follow. And when people in need, we helped. We gave them the centre. We could have kept it. We could have, thought of ourselves. But it's not about us. At the end of the day, they've tested a lot of people. Probably saved a lot of lives. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased that we can help the country. If that makes sense.
Peter, I'm just going to turn to a couple of questions here that have come in via YouTube. The first one is, who's your inspiration?
Inspiration? Who do you mean? Who I'd want to be like?
Who do you look up to in business?
If you ask me truthfully, there's one man that's done this job correctly in the trade. That was a man called Jeff Warren of the Great Trade Centre, car giant. That man in the 80s nailed it. So if you ask me, is there a man that I'd look up to? It's probably Jeff Warren. Today, we're in competition with him. I don't think it's a bad thing. He probably hates me. But as a man, that man has nailed the car job in the 2000s. So if you ask me correctly, there's another man, and he's a great man, and you know him personally. He's a man called Dash Dukta from Marshalls. I think that man is a fabulous leader, a great personality, and is a very generous man. So if you ask me, that's probably the two people I look up to and think have done the job, personally.
Peter, there's probably a lot of people who look at what you've done and think that I want to be like Peter. I want to have the helicopter and the Bugatti Veyron. I mean, one of the questions that's come in here on YouTube is how would you start now if you had £10,000 and no staff? Is it possible to achieve what you've achieved?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And more. I got divorced. It cost me millions. I come back about 10 years ago. It cost me millions. I lost the house, factories, everything. Look, it's dead simple. If you've got the passion and you've got the drive and you want to do it, you take me, a tramp, a man in the street, as a tramp. If I can achieve what I've achieved today, might not have as much energy as I had when I was 18, might have been better looking, don't know. That's the choice. The point is, dead simple. If you want it, go and get it. Because if you sit and talk about it, you'll never achieve it. That's why I know we will survive with Kazoo. To the house.
Another question that's just come in here from Ryan Seeley on YouTube, and he makes a good point. Have you ever thought about selling new cars?
Okay, let's talk about new cars. We can go back to a man called Dash Dukta. I remember being in Las Vegas. A lovely man. This man deserves an Oscar. Okay? But I remember sitting chatting to him and he said to me, we make 1%. We make 1%. And we've got all these guys telling us what to do, Peter. Well, first of all, I've always been my own man. I've never worked for anyone. I've always worked for myself. Why would I want to go and invest 10 million to 20 million pounds in a Land Rover dealership to make no money, or 1%? We made 7.3%. Okay? I'm my own man. I've built what we want. We've grown what we want. And we will carry on building what we want. So now.
I think that's pretty conclusive there. Let's talk about Kazoo then, Peter. I mean, you've clearly built a big business with Big Motoring World, and now looking to expand hugely. Just tell me about what the idea is behind this project.
If you take, we talk about Kazoo, and I love the man. I think the man is doing me a great job. Please, Alex Chesterman, keep advertising, keep selling the dream. He's a lovely man, and he's doing a great job for me. Okay, because he's going to sell the product. I'm just going to come in the background. He can spend the money. I'll make the money. Simple. It's dead simple. We're going to stock between 3,000 and 5,000 cars. We're going to do end-to-end process, same-day delivery. If you call us by 12 o'clock, we'll deliver the car. We've got 2 10-acre sites now, one in London. We've now got one up north. We're employing 200 staff. We've got a 14-acre prep centre, which you're hopefully going to see next month. We're going to fly you in there. It's probably one of the biggest prep centres in the country. It will get up to 10,000 cars eventually prepped a month. We're competitively priced. If you're not happy with the car, bring it back. So you've got to understand, we built a website, we built a module, we built a whole deck system. We've spent the last 18 months, I've invested millions upon millions of my own money. If you said to me, we've got the experience, and what you need to remember about Kazoo have said in the press, they don't want to employ car dealers. They don't want to employ anybody from the industry. What a big mistake. What a big mistake. We have got the experience. We have a man called John Bailey, okay, who was the international president of one of the largest car dealers in the country, car sites. So between me and him, I think we can grow our business faster, bigger, with more volume and more resources than our competitor. And I call him a competitor at the moment.
So, Peter, you honestly think that people are ready to buy online now in such great numbers that you could sell that amount of cars every month?
Well, let's test that. And I'll tell you how it really concreted to me, okay, is the numbers that we sold in lockdown. So in lockdown, okay, in April, so we built the website, we took a bit of it off, we put it onto Big, and we opened up online sales. In April, we had 93 staff. We sold 593 cars. In April, in lockdown, in the first month. We then grew that. We then took 260 people off of furlough. In May, we've sold 1,773 cars. Till today, I'm hoping that number's going to hit 2,000.
So, and you've been delivering those cars, Peter, have you, during the lockdown?
It hasn't been delivered. We did a video, just to put this in perspective. We'd set up, and this is quite a funny story. We had set up the trailers. We had 50 trailers sitting in Peterborough. We had all the vans, okay? And we had them all signed, ready for Kazoo. We've got this massive big place, we've been building it. And we had to peel the stickers off of it, put Big Motoring World stickers on it. We couldn't get a film crew. So just to show you the difference from me to anyone else, we filmed a home delivery going up my drive at my house and put it on LinkedIn. That's the difference from being a winner to a loser, okay? For whatever situation you're in, modify to the situation as quick as possible and get in front.
Were you surprised by those numbers that you sold during lockdown? Because they're very impressive numbers.
Listen, they're the best numbers in the world, but it shows two things. One, there's a module there and it can work. Number two, Mr. Waddell's coming to town. Mr. Waddell's coming to town. The moose to the hoose. Remember them words. There'll be a brand.
It's quite a slogan. Very catchy. When it comes to used cars, I mean, one of the big names in the industry was Trevor Finn when he was at Pendragon.
Last week.
You might have seen recently that he announced a return to the used car market. Have you got any words of advice for him?
I was with him last week. He come to Peterborough last week, a wonderful man, done a great job. He actually admitted to me last week that when he was at Pendragon, he did a big survey on our company because he couldn't believe how strong and how good we were doing. A very nice man. I met him last week. He wants to talk to me. He's very intrigued with Kazoo. He couldn't believe the site in Peterborough. He walked around with me and he said he'd never seen a place like it. But a great guy with a lot of great ideas. And I had a meeting for about 3 hours with him. I actually gave him my sandwich. You can tell him the next time you see him. I actually gave him my sandwich because we didn't get him one. But we sat with him for 3 hours. And I learned a lot from the man. I like to listen. I don't know everything. I'm just a little dumb car dealer who's worked hard and who's grew hard. But a nice man.
So what do you think to his plans, or is he going to help get involved in yours?
All I can say at the moment is we're having a conversation. That's all I can say.
So, okay, well, it will certainly be interesting to see what happens there. What about your secret to your success, Peter? I know we've covered the topic, but what would you say is your number one secret to success?
Staff. If you know, you've got to look at the lockdown. You know, we kept the staff. We built new processes. My staff were overwhelmingly worked night and day in the company. They loved the company. They worked tremendously well to adapt, to do things. I think they are the success of our company. They are the people who did it. And my heart goes out to them. And the messages, you know, the amount of messages that I got on my phone every day from my staff. Are you okay, boss? Is there anything I can do? You know, we love you. We're missing you. That means more to me, you know, when you're in lockdown and your phone rings just for a chat from your staff and just to talk about their worries and their family. And, you know, it's a big thing for them. You know, you've got these guys who've got mortgages, they've got kids they're looking at, they've got wives who are worried, they've got credit card bills to pay. You know, I don't like to talk about it. I don't post what I do. I don't believe in that. I give what I give for what I give. But I went around the staff that we kept, you know, that was not on furlough. And I brought them all donuts. In my Rolls Royce, I took them some donuts. That donut meant more to them, okay, than giving them £1,000. Because it was showing them that the CEO cared. The CEO was out there working with them in a very hard environment. And if you can lead like that, you know, Dash Doctor's the same with his chocolate eggs at Easter time. I did have a little joke with him on LinkedIn last year. I said, what are you doing that for? You may as well give him a free membership to the gym. Don't give him a chocolate egg. And he had a little chuckle. So I think, you know, if you said to me, how are we going to grow the business? It's through people. And we've got to do certain things with this lockdown. You know, we have got problems with this lockdown. Things are going to change, but you have to adapt. You have to adapt with your PPU. You know, your transport's going to change. How are staff going to get into work? Are we going to put a bus on? How are we going to get them here? So there's all of these different things. Now, you know, we all talk about, you know, last year it was the Brexit. Oh, we're not going to make the money. The jobs, you know, and it's arse. It's all fallen down. We got through last year, didn't we, in the Brexit? Look at the numbers in the Brexit. Yes, we've got challenging times, but we can get through these challenging times. We've got to focus, okay? We've got to focus on the job. That's what we've got to do. We've got to leverage Peterborough's facilities to prep cars faster, furious, price-driven, and move it on.
Those staff that you mentioned surely must be looking forward to coming back to work on Monday. I mean, are you going to be back in full? Is everybody going to be coming back from day one and you're hitting the ground running?
Well, if you look at our numbers, I think I'm just trying to remember. We had 93 off furlough in April. We had 260 people off furlough in May, and we had 370 people off furlough in June. So, you know, out of our 400, I think it's 495 staff, we'll have brought back virtually most people other than about 130 people. And the reason we can't bring them 130 people back in June is because it's workshop staff at Peterborough. And we need the options to open up. I mean, I flew into Rockingham yesterday in my helicopter, and I bought about 200 odd cars. And there was one person at that sale. And we've been starting to build up, because we'd sold a lot of cars. You know, we sold just under 2,000 cars. That takes out of the stock. So we need to get these cars back in. So until we can get the auctions opened up on the 15th or 16th, and we get cars back in, we won't be able to bring them other 130 people back until July. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Peter, you still sound like you play a very active role in the business, you know, going out there and buying the stock. I mean, is that your role these days? I mean, talk me through your typical day.
Okay, so I get up at 4 in the morning. Okay, most people laugh at me. I can get more done between 4 and 9 than what I can get done the rest of the day. Okay, so I usually have about 200 emails. I have a lot of people linking that personally send me messages and want to give them some advice. We've mentored 4 to 5 people from LinkedIn and their businesses and their growth, and we've helped them grow, which is a phenomenal thing for me to achieve and help. So we get up at 4. We usually have a little cappuccino. I've got one of these little machines. I've got one of these offices with all the wooden panels in my house. And I have a little cappuccino first thing in the morning. And then I usually sit down with a bottle of water, do my emails. And then about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, get my helicopter. I might fly to Peterborough or fly to an auction. I also own, I don't know if you actually know, I own a big property company. It's probably bigger than my business. My car business is quite a substantial business there. We build houses. We've got some houses being built in Coventry at the moment. So we build little industrial housing estates, and we've got a few big industrial estates I own. We own a lot of Dover, Coombe Valley. So we have all of these different things. So I have to deal with all of that between 4 and 9 property. So the rents, tenants, all of this. You know, we have quite a big business there. It makes a lot more money than the car business. So we have to deal with that first. But the car business is what I enjoy. The car business is what I love. I have a passion for it. So then usually I'll go to an auction or I'll go into a meeting. I hate board meetings. I hate board meetings. I'd rather take you for dinner or for breakfast and have a chat then. So that's usually my day. And then I usually get home about 9 o'clock. Usually the 4 o'clock emails have come through the phone and I've sort of just left them. So I usually do that. And then I usually sit there and to be honest, I love to go and see my son. Have a good hour with him. He likes to have a play. When I get home, Daddy's gone to work. I give him his Kinder Egg. And my wife is very understanding. We have a super yacht in Valencia at the moment, which we haven't been able to go on. I'm going down at 6 next to Alan Sugar's. So I'm going down to Nice on the 7th for a couple of days, just to get that ready for the family. And then obviously the family will come down. I will come back to work, and the family will be down there for the summer. So, you know, everything's good. I have a great family life. I have a fantastic son who works at Group 1. He works at Volkswagen. He's a Voltex technician. I'm very proud of him. He's done an amazing job. He's not like his dad. You could touch him and he'd fall over. So, you know, I have a great son. I have a beautiful son of 2. So one of 22, one of 2. A big difference. 2 wives, 2 sons.
Peter, it sounds like you've got a very, very busy life there. I mean, would you describe yourself as a workaholic?
Yes. Well, you know, how do you definition workaholic? If you enjoy what you do and you don't see it as a job, is it a job? You know, some people might want to go and kick a ball. Some people might want to sit in a golf course and, I want to hit a ball 200 meters. Yeah. Is that work? that's the point, isn't it? My passion is staff, people, customers, and being number one. I'm just a little dumb car dealer. I've been in the job 35 years. I've seen them come, I've seen them go. I've seen the Autoquakes, I've seen the Virgin, I've seen the Tesco's, I've seen all of that. But that's only made me wiser for the future.
Peter, what's your exit plan?
Somebody wants somebody to come and buy me out. Somebody wants somebody to come and give me a big bag of money. But will I ever retire? Probably not. I've got my property business. The property business does very well. I've got a beautiful son, a beautiful wife, lovely helicopter, Bugattis, as you see, helicopters. Do you ever retire? I don't think you do. What will happen is I'll sell the business one day, and then somebody says, oh, can you come and help me do this? Or can you come and help me do that? What's your advice? What would you do? And as I say, I'll try and help you. So I think you never retire. You'll always go to an event, won't you? You'll always do something. You take John Bailey, he's still in the business. He still owns part of Hendy Group. He retired, but he's still in Hendy Group, isn't he? So do you ever retire? You probably don't, because this job you love. This is a job you love. People say to me, oh my God, coronavirus, we're finished. No, this is just the beginning. Get up in the morning, drive the machine, do it. Lots of flash for no cash, do it.
Peter, what do you think is going to happen to used car prices? I mean, we reported this morning on the website, news from CAP yesterday, they think they're going to go down 7% over the next 12 months. A few of them have dropped. What are your thoughts? You're obviously very close to it.
Isn't it? Think.
Sorry?
Think is what you said.
Yes.
You don't know. You're thinking. Yes? Okay.
True.
Thinking. Okay, let's put this another way. For the last 3 months, 4 months, they haven't built any cars. They haven't built any cars, they can't sell any cars. They can't sell any cars. The only cars to sell is used. Now, you've got leasing companies that are not going to give their cars back and put them through the auction because they've still got to keep the customer in the car. This happened in 2009, in the last recession. The cars went down by £2,000 and within 3 months, went back up £2,000. You remember that? So we can say think. Think is for people who want to sit there and think and do nothing. Or get off your chair, sell cars, fast, furious, as many as you can, and drive the machine. That's what I say. Drive it like a Ferrari. Although I've got Bugattis. But that's the case, isn't it? So people can say they're going to drop 7%. But it's supply and demand. The more demand, the dearer the supply. You look at all this PPL stuff. You buy a mask today, it's 50 pence, isn't it? It used to be 10 pence. You talk about this hand sanitizer stuff. It used to be £1.50 a bottle. It's now £10, isn't it? So what is the value? The value is only there by the demand. So I don't think we're going to have that problem.
Peter, I've just got a couple more questions for you. I mean, one of them would be, when did you realise that you'd really made it? I mean, was it when you picked up your helicopter for the first time, or was it when you moved into your big house? I mean, when did you actually think, well, I've completed what I wanted to achieve?
I was 24 years of age, and I bought my first Rolls Royce. And I remember, I can't remember if it was Isle of Man or Isle of Wight, but I got on this ferry. It was a brand new Rolls Royce. I had my cigar. And basically, the man wouldn't park any car next to mine on the ferry. And they put my car right at the front of the ferry. They strapped it all down. And there was about 50 cars behind me. They're all squeezing out of their cars. That was the day I thought to myself, I've made it. But there's a definition of making it. There's a definition of looking at your bank balance and saying, oh, I've got millions of pounds in the bank. That's one definition. That's a fake definition. The real definition of achieving something and saying you've made it is when you look at your staff, you look at your company, you look at your family, you look at the lifestyle they have. And when you look at all of that and you look at your friends and you think, that's when I've made it. The bank balance is irrelevant. It's down to the lifestyle you lead and what you can give back.
And Peter, finally, what has this crisis taught you anything?
Me? Yeah, the wife spends too much money on the credit card. and you can probably see my hair's cut. I went on eBay. I bought a pair of scissors, one of these Zoom things, £15. I now cut my own hair. And I know now that I will not be going back to the hairdressers, spending an hour, parking the car, sitting there, watching people get their hair cut, give them a tip, and it cost me £20. My wife does it now for probably about £1 worth of electric. And a save an hour of time. That's probably what it's taught me.
I know how you feel. I've had to learn the same tricks myself. Peter, it's been an absolute delight to chat to you today. Thank you very much for giving up your time, and I look forward to seeing that Peter presenter in the future.
The moose to the hoose. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thanks ever so much. So a huge thank you to Peter Waddell for today. Tomorrow at midday, I'll be chatting to the Trust Ford Chairman and CEO Stuart Folds on the show. And then next week, I've got a huge amount of guests. You can find out who they are by going on to cardealermagazine.co.uk and finding the Car Dealer Live section. If you want to get involved in Car Dealer Magazine lives like this one, you can email me, james@blackballmedia.co.uk. Find me on Twitter @CarDealerEd or send me a message on LinkedIn. If you haven't already, join our WhatsApp breaking news group. Just message me at those methods before and I'll send you a link. And finally, if you haven't seen the latest Car Dealer Magazine digital issue, you can find it on the homepage of our website. Thanks once again to Peter for giving up his time today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks ever so much. Goodbye.